I've done that in a while. But hello Rodney, thanks for clicking on my video. This is Hello Rodney, thank you for clicking on my video. Thanks for clicking on my video. You know, I've done videos, you know, in the past, like April Fool's kind of stuff, where you're joking around and stuff like that, and being serious, and then maybe trying to shift it to being funny later. But this is not going to be one of those videos. There's not going to be much funny about this video. But maybe there will be. I don't know. Now, I had my voice has been not very good for quite some time, and the other day, last week, I touched my throat for some reason, and my Adam's apple was right here. I noticed this lump right here, and I went to the doctor the next morning, and I'm getting pretty good at killing flies. I've been killing flies. These flies, there's a lot of flies out here. It's not even a fly, that's just a spot on the desk. So, well, you think you're gonna... So anyway, I've been pretty good at killing flies lately. Anyway, went to the doctor, and the doctor started feeling around, and he says, "Oh, I don't feel anything. I don't feel. It feels like I don't feel anything hard there. It's probably not any sort of cancer or anything." Okay, we're going to do a blood test. Now, if the blood test comes back normal, or he said if the blood test comes back abnormal, then we know it's your thyroid. Okay. If the blood test comes back normal, then you know cancer can live within a body that has a normal blood test. So anyway, the blood test comes back. The blood test is normal, but he still doesn't think it's cancer, because he's not feeling anything. So we have to go for an ultrasound. So I go for an ultrasound, and I got a call from the doctor today, and the doctor, he did not come out and say anything because he doesn't know. The doctor doesn't know. But between the doctor and the radiologist, the conclusion is this: you got to go get a biopsy on this thing pronto. So from what the doctor was telling me, I'm expecting the worst. So and I'm hoping not to expect the worst. I don't know. I mean, it's just the way he talked about it. He didn't come out and say you have cancer. He just kind of made it very, very clear to me in very, very plain language that it's very, very important to go check this thing out. So he set up an appointment on Monday for me to go in and get a biopsy on this, and then we'll know. And so in a situation like this, I've never dealt with anything like this. I've always been very healthy. And, I'm going to be 59 years old here in about this month, pretty soon. My father died when he was 56, but he had a very bad diet and he smoked. So, I talked to a friend of mine, and he said that his sister had thyroid cancer, and that of all the cancers, this is the one, not this is the one as if I have it, but cancer, this particular type of cancer has got a very good rate of, full recovery or not a recurrence of the cancer. And if they have to do whatever they do, and I end up not having a thyroid anymore, then with proper medication. This is, as a matter of fact, he was saying that this is like one of the only, maybe the only organ or whatever in your body that you can live a perfectly normal life on medication. And I don't have any idea what's going on. And but this is really brought up some situations that this country is going through right now with the healthcare issues. And I really haven't kept too much track of the healthcare issues because I've always been healthy. And now this is hitting me right square between the eyes, because if this turns out to be cancer, then, you know, I mean, it's a good time in history to have this kind of cancer. You know, I mean, if this was 20 years ago or 100 years ago, or if it was going on in the middle of freaking Africa or somewhere else, who knows even how you get the stuff. You know, it would just be one of those things that you get and you probably end up dying from it, and that's the end of it. You know, and we're all going to die. Unless the Lord comes before we die. Now, this whole situation with the healthcare industry, something, like I said, I've never really kept track of because it's never been a problem for me. It's always been the other person that got sick. But this is not like a sickness. And I hope that it turns out to be okay and that this is all just a big freaking bad dream. But I don't think it's a bad dream. It's reality. And the only thing that can come out of it, well, not the only thing that can come out of it, but if they say, well, you've got something in there, we don't know what it is, we're going to drain it and then come back in 6 months or something like that. But if they say, well, it's cancerous, then they have to operate, take it out, do whatever they got to do, and then have to deal with it. But it gets back to the health insurance issues. Now, one of the things that is really, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, is something that would be called for-profit medical. You know, I'm not a communist, don't get me wrong. I am a capitalist. But there are certain things that people's health should not be for sale, for rent, or for lease. Health is a different thing. Health is us. And when you live in a country where there's so much money spent on things like, and I'm not dogging the military, the military has made our country great, really. It saved our country from from the Nazis and everything else. I mean, it's a good thing. But when we have a huge percentage of everything going toward things like the military and stuff like that, the country, I think that the country needs to take care of its people. A national security issue would be health care, taking care of your citizens, taking care of your people. And here I'm sitting in a situation with no health insurance. And there's going to be people that say, well, how come you don't have health insurance? Well, I can't afford health insurance. Well, you know, everybody can afford health insurance. I get my health insurance is covered by my job. Well, okay. Not everybody has your job. And one of the things, you know, a lot of, you know, people like me, Not people like me, obviously, because I don't believe this way, but a lot of people think that capitalism, everything boils down to capitalism, and it's not true. One of the things, and I'm a hypocrite here, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to tell you how I'm a hypocrite. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to admit my hypocrisies here to you or to anybody else. But one of the things about the American people, and I include myself to a particular degree, not to as, and this is all degree based. We are a very, very childish nation, especially the generations that are living now. My generation, not quite so much as the generations that followed my generation, but my generation was the beginning of the childish behavior. Before the baby boomer generation, I don't even think there was a such thing as adolescence. I don't believe adolescence. I think adolescence is something that was invented. Something that I don't think adolescence was something that my parents went through. I think you were a child, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're old enough to participate in the adult world. I don't think there was any adolescence where you, oh well, they're going through this thing, and they'll pull out of it in their 20s or something. You know, I don't think there's any of that. But we're like an adolescent nation with people in their 40s and 50s still in adolescence. Where, you know, when you're a child, or if you see a child, if you're walking down the street, minding your own business, and you see like a little 3-year-old child run into the street, it is your obligation as an adult to grab that kid and grab him and pull him out of the street. Because all adults know, a 3-year-old in the middle of the street, that child does not belong there. The child, there's whoever's watching this child is sitting down the job. You got to do what's right and get the kid out of the street. But when someone is an adult and they're doing the equivalent of a 3-year-old child in the street, you can't go up to that adult and say, look, hey, grab them and drag them out of that situation that they're in, because they'll fight you. Well, hey, I'm old enough to do what I want. I'm 18 years old. I'm 21 years old. I'm 45 years old. I'm 50 years old. I'm old enough to do what I want. And if what that person wants to do is to drink a 6-pack of Pepsi every day, which is nothing but sugar water, and the worst of the sugar water, corn syrup or whatever it is, and turn themselves into the Jabba the Hutt, eating 2 pizzas a day and 2 6-packs of Pepsis and a dozen donuts, 3 dozen eggs, whatever, smoking cigarette, 2 packs, 3 packs of cigarettes a day, total alcoholic, and they tell you that it's none of your business what they're doing, that they can do whatever they want because they're adults. It's time it's time for somebody to step forward and put their foot down and say, no, buddy boy, you are a 3-year-old child playing in the street, and we're going to take care of you. Now, I'm not talking about health care. I'm talking about taxation. Now, one of the worst things that you can say in the English language is tax. People don't want to pay tax. But you know what? When you're an adult and you're acting like a 3-year-old, and you can't put down the Twinkies, and then when you get in your 40s or 50s or whatever, you're obese. Now you're to the point where someone's got to actually take care of you physically, because you as an adult, by damn, I'm going to just do what I want to. I'm going to eat those 2 gallons of ice cream a week, and I'm going to drink three cases of Pepsi a week or a month or whatever, and they do it day in and day out. And then at the end, They're crying because now they're in a situation, they're at the hospital and they're going to die, or they're going to be in some sort of incredible situation, and someone's going to have to pay for that, and the government has to step up to the plate and pay for that. It's time that the government step in and be the daddy that the people that are so immature actually need, and that is to put a heavy tax on junk food. That's right, folks. When you go in and you buy a six-pack of Pepsi, you pay an extra 50 cents a six-pack, or $1 a six-pack, and that money goes directly into the health care fund. When you go up to the vending machine to buy a freaking candy bar and potato chips, a percentage of that money goes to the healthcare system, because basically we're making ourselves sick. Now, I don't know why I've got this situation, and I do my best to eat well. I don't eat as good as I should, but I am doing my best to eat well. I've never really been involved in all the junk food stuff. You know, and now I've eaten at places, well, anyway, you're not going to see me guzzling Pepsi. I don't even like sodas. And I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody else. I'm just saying, look, if there's a 3-year-old playing in the street, somebody's got to say something about it. And when people, you can see them, they're adults and they're just like kids playing in the street. We've got to put the brakes on. We cannot continue to do the same things over and over and over again and expect a different result. We are what we eat. You know, we can't just eat like pigs and expect to be healthy. And I don't think what I've got is brought on by any sort of dietary thing. I don't know. I was talking to a friend of mine. He said maybe it was brought on because you used to work in this mine. I don't know. I'm going to do some research on that tonight and find out if there's been any thyroid issues in this area that I lived in for so many years. But anyway, I wanted to do a video about this and just tell people, you know, if you feel a lump in your throat, go get it checked out. I'm hellorodney. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.